Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wal barakatuhu. This is Dr. Magna Anisa A. Hayudini of Mindanao State University, Sulu. This afternoon marks the fourth day of our International Short-Term Program or Forum. We will be having one presenter from Mindanao State University, uh, Marawi City, or our main campus. So before I will introduce the our presenter this afternoon, may I respectfully introduce her. She is presently an associate professor at the Mindanao State University, Marawi City, Philippines. She obtained her Master of Public Administration in the same institution and Doctor in Public Administration in the same institution at the same time, at the same institution also. Her field of expertise includes teaching, project management, technical needs assessment, gender and development, computer literacy, counseling, facilitating, documentation, case study, writing, and community organizing. She is the current She is currently serving as Special Assistant to the Office of the Vice President for, for Academic Affairs or OVPAA and works on student scholarships, curriculum, and faculty promotions. As a registered social worker, she has worked in various regions of Mindanao for the Department of Social Welfare and Development as a field practitioner for almost a decade before she joined the academe. Okay, please help me welcome actually our new Doctor of Public Administration graduate or graduates. She is Professor Ivy Sara May B. Arimao, a registered social worker and a graduate in MPA and in the DPA course also. Ma'am, you may now take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anisa. Am I audible? Am I audible, everyone? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay, so please allow me to present my presentation.
Please, ma'am, share your presentation.
Yes. Can you see my slide?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible. It's
All right.
visible.
All right. So this afternoon, assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all. Before anything else, I would like to ask for an apology because I'm not feeling very well today. So my voice is kind of hoarse. So I would like to ask for an apology for that. And that this afternoon, please bear with me for a few minutes to share with you, as I am tasked to share with you on public policy and good governance. Thank you very much for introducing me. I am Ivy, and I am an associate professor at the Mindanao State University, Marawi City, Philippines. All right, now on general field of public policy as an overview. While public policy is perceived by many as an easy term to understand, several scholars in the field of public administration have experienced a number of difficulties in defining the concept. The term public policy since the beginning has been described in a number of ways, but the fact remains that not a single definition was agreed by most of the scholars of the field of administration. Now, what literature says about public policy um, would include public policy is larger than decisions. Yes, it consists of decisions to address a public issue or problem. It is a process over time. It consists of a pattern of action or decisions taken over time, and it involves intentions and behavior. It involves action as well as inaction or decision not to do anything. It is a purposive course of action and goal oriented. So, accordingly, it is also based on law. It is authoritative. It commands obedience, has element of coercion. It involves a leading role for government. It involves intra and inter-organizational relationships, state and non-state actors. The importance of public policy undoubtedly outweighs the meaning of other disciplines when it comes to the study of different programs of the government. In fact, it is important, it is its importance can be seen from several perspectives, particularly among the students who are deeply engaged in the study of public administration. Students consider it important in the sense that it gives them the ability to learn how public policies are made in the government and how these policies can influence the public in the course of its implementation. It is important for academic reasons that it allows the students to learn the different stages of the policy-making process and the skills in analyzing the programs of the government. In addition to this, policy study is important for scientific reasons in that the discipline enables the different individuals and other interested parties to understand the causes and consequences of several societal problems whose resolution can be achieved through the enactment of a sound public policy. Knowing public policy in the same line improves the knowledge of the general public and the kind of the community where they can readily identify themselves. So it gives them a sense of appreciation that public policy would be able to help them to conceptualize the best solution to the problems in society. So as this practice unfolds in the present time, a lot of people in the community seem to have started to focus in the field of public policy, notwithstanding those employees in the government. So every time a problem exists, people often refer to the applicable public policies. Now here, can you see the policy process model on the screen? Are you still with me?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible. It's visible.
All right, very good. Now, there we can see the policy process. The policy process model wherein we can see the key components. First of is the problem definition and agenda setting. So what we need to do first is to identify a policy problem or problem definition or redefinition. And we need to get the policy problem into the policy agenda of the government. And then followed by a policy formulation wherein we need to search and evaluate alternative courses of action, that to include, of course, maintaining status quo for dealing with a public problem. And then another is adoption or decision making. Decision on the best course of action or authorization or official adoption by government. And then we have the policy implementation, wherein this is the execution or enforcement of policy. The resources, the organization, the personnel, time frame are all involved. And then we need to come up with a policy evaluation. We need to assess the results and impact of policy. So feedbacks are very important. They are used to review policy, the status quo, improvement, or termination. And then we have here assumptions about characteristics of policy process. First off, we need to be rational. This involves steps from problem formulation and evaluation of alternatives through the implementation. These are conflicts over goals or perceptions about the situations that may be present, but these are assumed to result in stable and determinate outcomes and do not interfere with the consistency of the process. So problems are viewed as technical, climate as consensual, and process as controlled. In terms of political, perceptions and interests of individual actors enter at all stages. So policy is a bargained outcome. Environment is conflictful. Process is characterized by diversity and constraints. And then we have here some general characteristics, both rational and political, sequential, cyclical, and iterative. Ongoing. The policy process are always ongoing. They are continuing cycle, the boundaries of which are sometimes blurred, complex and dynamic, and many others. So here you can see the policy system in this slide. We're in environment of policy making. In general, forces and conditions affect policy making. Specific context surrounding a particular policy problem. Environment generates and transmits demands for policy action. Public policies also affect the environment. There are two broad categories of environment. One is what we call the intra-social or societal, and then followed by extra-societal. The intra-societal environment, how do we understand the intra when we say intra-societal environment? So this includes physical or geographic characteristics, to include, for example, the climate, topography, land and water resources, or location. And then another is technology, the level of technological development or backwardness. And then we have also the socio-economic characteristics, to include urban and rural disparities. These are standards of living, income, and wealth distribution. And then another is the demographic profile, of course. That includes, of course, the population size, the age distribution, ethnic differentiations, and spatial distribution. And then we have, of course, a very important, actually everything is important, but what one important aspect is the political system and, of course, the culture. It may be democratic, authoritarian, or capitalistic, or socialistic. Now, I have mentioned a while ago on extra-societal environment. So how do we understand when we say extra-societal environment? So what we mean here includes the global development. When we say global development, of course, that includes the globalization, that includes the information, communication technology, or the ICT, and then multilateral or bilateral institutions, international economic order, foreign and transnational investments and cooperation, international agreements, treaties, summits, and other countries. Now we have here actors in policy making, or what we commonly known as the policy stakeholders. So these are stakeholders. So other terms used in the as stakeholders are policymakers or influence wielder, implementers, analysts, depending on the stage of the policy process that they are involved in. So stakeholders, these policy stakeholders stake in a policy because they affect and are affected by government decisions. For examples, we have citizens groups, we have labor unions, we have national government organizations, we have business groups, government agencies, political parties, and many others. And then we have also official actors. Official actors need to have legal authority to make policies, such as legislators, executives, administrators, judges. And then we have primary and secondary actors, to include, of course, those in the Congress or the president and judiciary. And then bureaucrats, administrators, administrative bodies. And then we also have, of course, the unofficial actors. We call them the interest groups, the lobby groups, the political parties, the citizens, the media, as well as the church. And then we have here environment of policy making. So in general, forces and conditions affecting policy making. So these are specific contexts surrounding a particular policy problem. So environment generates and transmits demands for policy action. Public policies also affect the environment. So I have mentioned the two broad categories of environment already. I have explained them already. Yes. So here, we have definitions of some basic terminologies. First off, we have the public policy. So public policy are long series of more or less related choices. So this includes the decisions not to act made by government bodies and officials. We also have what we call the policy issues. So these policy issues are disagreements or conflict among policy actors about an actual or potential course of action. And then we have policy problem. How do we understand policy problem? Of course, these are unrealized need, a value or opportunity which, however identified, may be attained through public action. And then the policy environment. These are specific contexts in which events surrounding a particular issue occur. And then the policy formulation, which is the development and synthesis of alternative solutions for policy problems. And then what we have here, what we call the policy evaluation, which is the policy analytic method used to produce information about the value or worth of past and or future courses of action. And then we have here what we call the policy advocacy. So the use of policy relevant information to make policy claims and offer recent arguments about possible solutions for problems. Policy advocacy is a way to make normative statements, not to issue prescriptions, commands, or orders of various kinds. All right. Then we have also policy alternative. How do we understand policy alternative? These are potentially available course of action that may contribute to the attainment of values and resolution of a policy problem. Then we have what we call the policy analysis. These are applied discipline, which uses multiple methods of inquiry and argument to produce and transform policy-relevant information that may be utilized in political settings to resolve public problems. Then we have policy outcome. How do we understand policy outcome? These are observed consequence of a policy action. Then we have the policy stakeholders, individuals or groups who have a stake in policy because they affect and are affected by government decisions. Now, policy system, the overall institutional pattern within which policies are made, has three elements: public policies, policy stakeholders, and policy environment. So now we are done with public policy. So maybe we can now proceed with the what is governance or good governance. Remember that, are you still with me, by the way?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, we need to understand that we need not only, we do not need, I mean, good governance is not enough. What we really need are good citizens, right? We need to keep that in mind because whoever is in the position, whoever is our leaders, um, the citizens of the citizens of the country always has a a major contribution, or um, a big role in good governance. So good governance is never enough, but what we need are good citizens. So we have here definition of terms in relation to um, governance. So when we say governance, that is, of course, broadly defined as the sound exercise of political, economic, and administrative authority to manage a country's resources for development. So that involves the institutionalization of a system through which citizens, institutions, organizations, and groups in a society articulate their interests, exercise their rights, and mediate their differences in pursuit of the collective goals. Now, governance embraces the affairs of a government and the proactive role of the private sector and civil society in national development. Now we have the ICT, the information age, and the resulting information and communication technology, or ICT tools, have dramatically altered the relationship between the public sector and other actors in society. ICT, or the information age and communication technology, has proven to be a powerful means of disseminating information in times of political uncertainty. More importantly, ICT can be used in a sustainable manner to facilitate government operations as well as engage civil society. Now, I'm sorry. Then we have globalization. It has increased the role of global institutions and has simultaneously expanded the scope of government responsibilities. Thus, the manner a state manages its economy has changed, and the importance of its regulatory role may have decreased as a consequence of the increased interdependence of economies. And then finally, we have decentralization. Decentralization has also altered the relationship between citizens and public administration institutions. Increasingly, more public service responsibilities are being delegated to local governments, thereby reducing the layers of bureaucracy between service provider and citizen. Decentralization has been actually suggested as an alternative model of government that builds trust, transparency, and accountability. When we say decentralized governance, that defines the systematic and harmonious relationship resulting from the balancing of power and responsibilities between central governments, other levels of government, and non-government actors, and the capacity of local bodies to carry out their responsibilities using participatory mechanisms. Now, governance should not be reduced to government, as the four aspects of governance are interdependent in a society. Indeed, social governance provides a moral foundation, while economic governance provides a material foundation, and political governance guarantees the order and the cohesion of a society. However, the differences in the importance given to each of these four actors lead to some nuances in the definition of governance. So on the other hand, considering these four actors at the same level leaves the concept of governance neutral. Thus, governance is the process whereby a society makes important decisions, determines whom they involve, and how they render out. We also have the media. The media plays an important role in ensuring good governance. While media is willing to expose the failures, it should also highlight the successful initiatives for others to learn lessons, and also to encourage those who innovate and perform well amid several constraints. So we really, in the media, we really have to be transparent. So we have here basic elements of governance. First off is accountability. Accountability relates to making public officials answerable to the citizenry for the actions and decisions of a government, and ensuring that in the performance of their functions and their actions, public officials are responsive to and faithfully safeguard the welfare and interests of the people. Um, Accountability rests on the establishment of criteria for evaluating the performance of public sector institutions. So this includes economic and financial accountability brought about by efficiency in resource use, expenditure control, and internal and external audits. Accountability improves a government legitimacy. Transparency and participation are essential ingredients in establishing accountability. Then we have transparency in relation to good governance, of course. Before anything else, on another issue regarding accountability is, of course, ensuring accountability for omissions. Our system is designed to make commission of mistakes accountable, and if someone does wrong willfully, then he is held accountable. But if someone is guilty of omission or fails to do something, what he is supposed to do it is difficult to fix responsibility on him or her. Now we proceed with transparency. So this refers to the availability and accessibility of information to the public and clarity of government rules and regulations. So it ensures swift access to accurate and timely information about government policies, programs, and activities. Transparency is the availability and clarity of information provided to the general public about government activity. Governments must not only provide information, but also ensures that as many citizens as possible have access to this information with the goal of increasing citizen participation. A lack of transparency creates opportunities for government corruption and reduces public sector efficiency. Participation refers to enhancing the people's action to and involvement in all the levels and facets of policy and decision making, including facilitating processes of free and open dialogue and building consensus between a government and the people to ensure that development is pursued for, with, and by the people. Participation is an essential element for an engaged civil society. The public sector can promote participation by enacting legislation that strengthens the freedom and plurality of media, establishing an independent electoral management body, and encouraging public input into decision-making on government plans and budgeting. Participation requires enhanced capacity and skills of stakeholders and sustainable policies supported by institutions and public administration. Then we have predictability. This relates to the consistent and equal application of laws, regulations, and policies. So this involves establishing and sustaining appropriate legal and institutional arrangements to uphold the rule of law and maintain consistency of public policies and programs. Then we have here efficiency. So this should be understood as a government's ability to establish predictability in the institutional and policy environment. This is brought about by an economically efficient system of production and distribution, as well as a fair and consistent legal system. Efficiency is also a question of correctly prioritizing government services to correspond with citizen needs. This includes the provision of services such as security, of course, healthcare, and education. So we have here Good governance. What is good governance? One, good governance is creating a conducive economic environment. Two, protecting the vulnerable. Three, improving government efficiency and responsiveness. Four, empowering people and democratizing the political system. Five, decentralizing the administrative system. Six, reducing gaps between rich and poor. And seven, encouraging cultural diversity and social integration. And eight, of course, is to protect the environment. So the United Nations, or the UN, has considered good governance as an essential component of the Millennium Development Goals, now the Sustainable Development Goals, because good governance accordingly establishes a framework for fighting poverty, inequality, and many of humanity's other shortcomings. So without good governance or sound development management, poverty reduction and national development are impossible to achieve. Bad governance is the reason why broad economic intervention strategies are unable to trickle down and affect positive changes in the quality of life of the people. So the absence or lack of good governance is manifested by the persistence of graft and corruption and related administrative problems such as overregulation and red tape. So good governance presents opportunities and challenges in integration or coordinating the efforts of the public sector, civil society, and community members designed to evolve policies and programs and organizational and operational mechanisms and institutional arrangements that are responsive to the needs of the people. It ensures the judicious and transparent use of public funds, encourage the growth of the private sector, it promotes effective delivery of public services, and uphold the rule of law. Now we have administrative reform efforts in the Philippines setting. So this did not fully succeed because of the following. First, we have the lack of acceptance of and commitment to the need for reform by political authorities and different affected entities. Lack of stakeholder appreciation and agreement concerning administrative reform being a long, strategic, and continuous process. Lack of understanding that reform objectives are specific, measurable, realistic, and time-bounded. Lack of good reform implementation strategies and adequate resources to carry them out, and lack of an established central agency tasked with formulating, coordinating, and monitoring reforms and providing corrective measures. So these are good governance through administrative reform. Okay, so another is the lack of reform procedures and regulations that are fairly and consistently applied. Lack of meaningful stakeholder participation in the entire reform process. Lack of strong and sustained support of political leaders. Lack of established and enforced system of accountabilities. Lack of safety nets for groups and individuals who may be disenfranchised by interventions. And then a positive trend, these are issues and challenges, to include a positive trend towards strengthening existing institutions will enhance cooperation within the public sector and between government agencies and civil society and government agencies and the private sector. The institutional reform efforts require capacity building strategies to mainstream good governance, not just as an end in itself, but also as a process for improving the performance of public services. And then we have capacity building for good governance. This focuses on the processes of equipping civil servants and stakeholders with understanding, skills, and access to information, knowledge, and training that will enable them to work together and perform effectively. Then we have Policy support for good governance in the Philippines exists and is embodied in various constitutional provisions, statutes, executive orders, administrative rules and regulations, and policy pronouncements embedded in or putting forth national development goals or agendas. And then other issues and challenges includes our 1987 Constitution that provides strong and explicit support for good governance. To wit, it establishes a democratic government where civilian authority over the military is guaranteed. It declares that the prime duty of the government is to serve and to protect the citizenry. It also mandates that public officers and employees must be always accountable to the people. Civil servants and elected officials must render full disclosure of their financial and business interests. It encourages popular participation and people empowerment and people access to government documents and operations. It prohibits political dynasties and nepotism. And then we have here the 1991 Local Code, which enhances the participation and empowerment of the local government units. However, many policies have nonetheless missed out in giving importance to meaningful public consultations. Public consultations are really indeed very, very important. Constructive debate and criticisms and needed consensus building and development of a sense of ownership of different stakeholders. And then some policy initiatives may not be ready to be pursued because the data and analysis necessary to make a decision may be unavailable. So in these cases, research is probably more appropriate than formulating a new policy or draft legislation. So some policies are haphazardly and hastily developed and scarcely take into account deliberate and careful planning and effective use of objective and accurate information. So we have here costs of corruption. Corruption is actually the mother of all evils in the government. It is the major cause of poverty, if you agree with me. And it is already a way of life in the government, which suggests that it pervades the entire government, including the environment. So we have here strategic framework for good governance. In response to these challenges, this plan aims to promote effective and honest governance to create an enabling environment for citizens and the private sector to reach for their full potential. Effective and honest governance will be promoted and practiced through the following four strategies. So one is ensure high quality, efficient, transparent, accountable, financially and physically accessible, and non-discriminatory delivery of public service. So this is ensuring transparent, inclusive, and responsive public service delivery, which is very critical. For ensuring good governance in the public sector, transparency is unquestionably required for accountability. Transparency and accountability are inextricably linked and mutually beneficial. So one of the best ways to provide transparency and accountability is to communicate openly and frequently with your employees, with the leaders and stakeholders. We need to share our vision, our mission, our values and objectives, and explain how they align with our actions, decisions, and results. So transparency provides accountability and provides information for about what the government is doing. And transparency in government inculcates the faith of people in the government. So by giving access to seeking information, the government becomes accountable to the public. So this ensures the efficient expenditure of the public accounts. And then we have second, curb both bureaucratic and political corruption. So there are best ways to eliminate our political corruption and promoting good governance, no, or combat political corruption. So one, of course, is to strengthen regimes to prevent corruption and bring corrupt actors to justice, enhance international cooperation and partnerships, denying safe haven, recognize reform and leverage coordination in learning to combat corruption. And then third, we have to strengthen the rule of law, of course. You know, we really have to strengthen the rule of law. First, effectively and thoroughly investigate all crimes. So these include, and indeed in particular, where there is reason to suspect the involvement of state officials. Second is to refrain from using the criminal process to punish anyone for political expression or to infringe upon the principle of judicial independence. It requires measures to ensure adherence to the principles of supremacy of the law, equality before the law, accountability to the law, separation of power, participation in decision making, legal certainty, avoidance of arbitrariness, and procedural and legal transparency. So lawmaking must be done properly and fairly. And once strong laws are in place, they must be respected by everyone. That's where we step in. We make sure that there are strong mechanisms to ensure that lawmaking and decision-making is transparent and subject to scrutiny by the courts, the public, and the media. Now, number 4, we have enhance citizens' access to information and participation in governance. So people participate in governance through the political exercises of voting, of course, sectoral representation of the village or the community, and in the exercise of initiatives and recall, however limited, in the referendums affecting the status of their community. So citizen participation is a key element of a good governance system. It provides private individuals and groups the opportunity to inform, influence, monitor, and evaluate public decisions, processes, and actions. Now, good governance initiatives may include also advocacy for legal reform, public awareness, such as raising on the national and international legal framework, and capacity building or reform institutions. Okay, so to distinguished members of this forum, I hope you are still with me because that brings us to the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you all for your special time listening and attention today. I thank you so much for your interest and patience. So at this time, I'd like to ask if there are any questions. So I'll finish up by saying, may God Almighty bless us all in good health. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon once again to all the viewers. We have heard about the presentation of Dr. Ivy Sara. Is there anyone from the viewers would like to ask their questions?
Yes.
Okay, Doc.
Hello.
Doctor. Hello, Doc. Yes, you're audible, Doctor.
Yes,
can
what's the
you?
question?
Yes, you are welcome and you're recognized.
Yes, madam, I have a question. Hello.
Yes, Professor Dinesh.
Yeah, madam, you have a very good lecture and informative lecture.
Oh, thank
Uh,
you very much.
but madam, I have a question to you. How we can achieve good governance? How we can achieve good governance? This is my question.
All right. Okay, thank you very much for that question, Professor Dinesh. I have mentioned a while ago good governance, and that to one is, of course, to have good citizens. Of course, we need to select good leaders, and then also, aside from what are mentioned in my slides, um, we all have to be involved in every issues and challenges in our country, as well as be involved in matters like political, yes, economic issues, and we need to be good citizens. We need to be God-fearing individuals. We need to minimize corruption as well, because um, corruption is, of course, the the mother of all evils. So that's how we combat corruption. Um, it's strengthening the ombudsman in the effective and speedy prosecuting of corruption cases files against top government officials. That's how we also achieve good governance. To combat corruption or to eliminate corruption, it's also continue the lifestyle check on government officials. Also, reporting and prosecution of officials to exact accountability for unethical or unlawful conduct is, of course, hampered by weak institutional mechanisms to protect whistleblowers, systematic inadequacies in investigative and how do you call that, prosecutorial agency inefficiencies ranging from meager resources to incompetence and the intractability of rules and procedures that confound prospective complainants and delay rather than facilitate investigation and prosecution.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. I have
Okay,
enjoyed your
you're
lecture.
most welcome. Thank you.
Is there anyone from our viewers who have still their questions to be recognized? Or shall we proceed with our next speaker?
Dr. Hussain, please introduce our worthy speaker, Dr. Imane Alam.
Okay, Doctor, yes, we will proceed now with our next speaker. So thank you very much, Dr. Ivy Sara, for that very informative presentation. Again, good afternoon to all. We are very honored to have some distinguished speakers with us this afternoon, and they have been generously agreed to share their expertise and insights with us. And then we have here another speaker this afternoon please allow me to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Iman Abdel Samia Ali Hussein Alam, a lecturer at Botany and Microbiology Department, Faculty of Science, Al-Azhar University, Cairo, Egypt. Dr. Alam is dedicated lecturer and a highly skilled researcher and trainer, trained various science-related subjects at undergraduate, postgraduate, doctoral, and postdoctoral levels with a special interest in phytochemistry, plant physiology, especially green and pharmaceutical biotechnology. Currently, Dr. Alam is working on several plant extracts which have proved significant effects and promising results in the treatment of colon and prostate cancer, and as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, antipyretic, diuretic, hepatoprotective, hepatocurative, and antibacterial agents. She has got a master's in science and Doctor of Philosophy thesis in plant physiology, production and improvement of secondary metabolites from the wild medicinal plants using tissue culture techniques and biological evaluations of these secondary metabolites as in the treatment of many human dangerous diseases. This point is her first scientific interest. Additionally, Dr. Alam has submitted to 16 patents relevant to new drug extracted from plants and novel methods for determination of flavonoids, anthraquinones, and tannins in plants extracts. Also, she has 45 books in the area of medicinal plants and in the improvement of research skills of youth researchers and students. In addition to this, she has also 36 internationally published scientific papers in this area of science. Dr. Alam is an enthusiastic, self-motivated, reliable, responsible, and hardworking person. She also a mature team worker and adaptable to all challenging situations, able to work well both in a team environment as well as using her own initiative, able to work well under pressure and adhere to strict deadlines. She reviewed many international scientific books and scientific original articles of more than 250 for many international scientific publishers. She is the president of the hundreds international scientific meetings and participated as keynote speaker, resource person, organizer, moderator, and chairperson in nearly about 1,500 international scientific meetings and engaged in many international training program as organizer and instructor in a collaborative work with many international scientific and training organizations in many countries in Europe, USA, Asia, and Africa. In 2019, postdoctoral fellowship on the topic elimination of some tropical disease in Nigeria and other African countries by applying some white and green biotechnologies at the African Center of Excellence for Neglected Tropical Diseases and Forensic Biotechnology, or ASCENTEB, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria, under the joint NAM and SNT Center Fellowship Scheme in the field of neglected tropical disease and forensic biotechnology. In September 2019. In 2012, she has also this plant physiology, botany, and microbiology department, Faculty of Science in Helwan University, Helwan, Cairo, Egypt. In 2008, she has this plant ecology, botany, and microbiology department as a faculty of science in Zagazig University of Zagazig, Egypt. In 2003, in Bachelor of Science as first class honor, excellent with honor degree with 90.88%, and microbiology department, Faculty of Science in Al Azhar University, Cairo, Egypt. As additional education, in 2022, she is a student at the second level in the Cairo University with blended learning, a Faculty of Arts Department of Psychology, first level score of 81%, having a very good to be finished in 2025. In 2020, she has the studies in the Intellectual Property Innovation Management English program in the National Institute of Intellectual Properties in Helwan University, Cairo, Egypt, with 85% GPA, submitted to the thesis under the theme of Biotechnological Fields, the comparative study, to be finished in this year, 2023. And also in 2019, she has the Faculty of Law in Cairo, Egypt, in the University of Cairo. Okay, without further ado, we would like to introduce to you our next speaker in this afternoon, Dr. Iman Abdel Samia Ali Al Hussein Alam.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My voice is clear.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Yes, you are
Yes, your voice
clear.
is audible.
Thank you very much. Thank you. First of all, I need to thank my dear sister, Dr. Shailaja, for inviting me to this scientific meeting. And also I need to thank organizers and organizations, including Kabi Commerce Trust and also Mindanao State University in Philippines. And thanks also to our lovely moderator for her performance. Thank you very much to all of the teamwork, and let's go. Please, can you give me the right to share screen? Yes. My screen is clear now. Am I right?
Yes,
Hello?
it's clear. It's visible. It's clearly visible, dear.
Thank you, my lovely sister. Thank you very much. First of all, we will talk together in the topic entitled How to Prepare a Quality Research Paper and How to Publish Research Paper in Scopus and High Impact Factor Journal. Now we need to know how to prepare our paper to be submitted in a highly impacted journal. Let's go. My lecture will be divided into several parts. First of all, I'll talk about looking to your paper not as like as author, but as like as a reviewer, and how to prepare your paper in a highly performance manner. And also, finally, I'll talk about journals and the issue of impact factor and so on. So let's go. First of all, I need to say that author efforts in mirror is the reviewer view. So when we are paying attention to our work and we are doing our best, it means that a reviewer will find our paper in a very good form. So we need to prepare our paper during considering ourselves as reviewer, not only as an author. So we need to do something like critical thinking. Firstly, let's introduce the issue. We have different types of scientific writings. We have a scientific paper, which is called full length manuscript or full length article. We have review article, which can be called also as review manuscript. And we have case study, we have methodology paper, we have short communication, and others, including patents, thesis, and so on. Regarding scientific paper, we will highlight it today. Regarding review article, we are doing something like surveying a certain topic or certain subject. Regarding a case study, we need to highlight specific case study in our discipline, and the methodology means that we are trying to modify all the methods or trying to do something like a patent. We are discovering new methods. And regarding short communication, it means that we are not doing long paper, but it's very compressed. This is done in case of projects and something which will be extended. So we need to give only some highlights related to this paper, but we don't like to publish all things as in paper. What about reports? We are reporting some important issues, and in patents, we are protecting our intellectual property rights, and also in thesis, we are performing either MSc, PhD thesis, and so on. So we are in front of different types of scientific writings. Regarding scientific writing, when we are directing our speech to non-specialists, we are calling it as science writing. So science writing, it means that we are doing something like articles in magazines and so on, generally, general knowledge, or we need to simplify science for readers. We are not talking to specialists, but we are talking to non-specialized people. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The scientific paper has developed over the past 3 centuries into a tool of communication. We are considering publication as a tool of communication. So, it's something like silent or written communication, which is directed to extremely specialized audience. So here we are talking to specialized, not non-specialized as in science writing. What about purposes of writing papers? We are in a real need to present information in very easy manner and very clear, and we need to represent enough information which will support the reader to avoid duplicating the scientific study. Maybe you are in Philippines, I'm in Egypt, and our colleagues in India. So I'm thinking about the same thing, but they will avoid what I already published after publishing it, because already it's published, so reserved. So no duplication will be done. We are reporting our results in a scientific journal, and we need to do something like effective communication to specialists. What about problems of writing? If we are highlighting, for example, unnecessary details, or if we are compressing necessary details. Okay. Instead of talking to a wider audience, we are talking something like talking to ourselves. What about format of the paper? We have the abstract, which is the summary of the paper. It means that we are talking about the main reason for the study, the primary results, the main conclusion, introduction. Will reply about some questions. Will answer some questions, including why the study was undertaken, methodology, material, and the methods, means how, when, and all question marks related to the work. Results means what was found, and the discussion means why this result is very important or significant when it will be compared with others, including ourselves in previous work. Effective research articles are very interesting and also useful. So let's go to this infographic. We'll summarize the issue. We are writing uh, our title in a very clever manner. I'll discuss it later on, sorry. And we have also abstract, which must be very short, and introduction to introduce our idea and our work. And also we have a methodology, and we need to use or to refer to references. We need to have a plan of time, and also we need to write and rewrite. We need to edit and edit. We need to ask our colleagues if they have experience, and also we need anyone to look to our paper out of the box, because I am inside work, so I must love my work, I must like it. So I need to ask some of my colleagues, is it good? Can you understand it easily? Is my idea is clear, and so on. Before going to alphabets of a paper, which is my preferred book, let's share together another thing. As I said before, we are trying to be as like as a reviewer. So I'll show with you some examples of reviewing reports. I deleted the title of the paper for the privacy of the author. But only I wanted to show the ideas to you. So now we have a manuscript evaluation sheet for publication in a specific journal. We are discussing as a reviewer some things like importance and interest of the paper to the journal readers, and scientific soundness and originality of the work, technical content, and up-to-date and appropriate literature review, organization of the paper, if it will be well organized or not, research methodologies, and if it will be described in a good way or not, and methods of data analysis. It's very important to discuss it. And also, if writing is clear, tables and graphs and illustrations and so on, reasoning and writing styles, significance, and the novelty of the work must be discussed. So I'm talking now as a reviewer, but if I am author, so it means that I'll consider these points. This is very important. Also, question directed to the reviewer. If you are aware of peer publication or presentation related to this work, it means that if I am editor, I need to avoid duplication. I need to avoid repeating others. I need to be myself during the work. And also, if the manuscript is free of commercialism or not. So the evaluation decision, if it will be accepted or not, and so this is one of reports, and I'll show another one now. This one is related to book, and also can be done with papers. Okay. The work title, the author name, it's optional. for better reviewing. Sometimes they are removing it, sometimes they are not removing if they are trusting the reviewer, but I think it will be better if they will remove the author. What about criteria? We need to do something like judgment. So criteria including originality of the topic, technical quality, importance in field, style and overall representation, and extent of the previous work, to the previous studies, and reality, and also suitability as a book or as a paper, and interested for or not for non-expert, uh, is illustrations, drawings, and overall evaluation. Also, if this paper or book is represented by its title, or maybe the title is misleading. What about abstract? What about methodology? If this methodology is properly described or not? Are there reference cited? What about the originality of the work, and so on? So this is about how to be work as like as a reviewer, but you are the owner of this work. So you are author, but working using the soul of reviewer. We are doing critical thinking in this situation. So let's talk about some hints related to my lovely book, which is Alphabets of a Scientific Paper. What about paper? Paper means not only paper as like any other paper, but it means pencil pen reactions induced by sounds of minds interact with each other to produce applicable work, which is supplied a beneficial product for people. Paper requires great efforts, payment, and ideas of the paper are result of positive thinking. It's very important, and positive reactions between scientists and their surrounding environment. As a researcher, we can't live in an isolation. We need to be engaged with our environment to solve its problem. I'm talking not only on the case of applied sciences, also in case of theoretical or social sciences and so on, we need to be engaged with our surrounding environment. So paper is a pencil pen reactions to produce applicable work. It means interaction between people and environment, and we will do our best to reach to a product. This product must be beneficial for people. So paper equation means that we have title, abstract, introduction, methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, references. In the mind of scientists, we will have a paper. So it means that we are working on all parts of our paper. We need to do our best to have good paper. Not only we are here wanted to search on good journals. If I'm not preparing a good paper, so how come I need to publish it in a respected journals? It may be maybe they will refuse my work, so I need to prepare my paper in a very effective way, and also at high level of performance. What about title? Title must express the work totally in brief words, total ideas, total result. It must be informative, and it must identify our work. It means that we are trying to add some words to the title. If it will accept, it means that this title is very short. Also, we need to try to remove some words from our title if it will accept. So it means that this title is very long and misleading. Title must be targeted and to the point, but suitable words are better than many misleading words. It must be enough for the identification of our work. What about abstract? Abstract must be attractive. Attraction means scientific attraction, and not we are doing it in different color. No, 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 no. Only scientific attraction. Pre-force, but of great values, and also we need to perform it as strongly formed abstract, and it must be targeted and to the point and must represent our data shortly. As you can see here, I'm doing something like a dictionary. I am using one letter from each part of the paper to have a specific rule. So if we have a student, we can introduce something like this in a very simple way to give them some rules related writing a paper, and also for expert and clever scientists, they can highlight some important issue in a very fast way, manner, and in a very simple way. So in abstract, we are referring to all ideas, all methodologies, all results in a mini paper. I am calling it mini paper or the son of paper or compact complete paper. It must be also again targeted and to the point. What about introduction? Introduction will introduce our work to reader. So introduction maybe improve or cut the communication between the author and readers. So it may create a good way of communication, or maybe it will do something like this communication. It must be in a moderate size, not too long, not too short, target to the point. We are preparing it after rephrasing sentences to fit the work. We are not doing copy and paste from others. We need to organize our data in order to show its scientific value. We are doing in introduction documentation of every written word. We need to refer to the reference. Introduction means it's full review of literature. It's something like review of literature in the thesis, but it's very compressed and ended by aims or targets, but review of literature not ended by aim or target. And also, it must tell us about past against future. If we are not good readers of the past, we are not creating a good future. So we need to read the past to detect the gap and to fill it and to advance and improve our future. It must be done as informative introduction, observation of what is already done to detect what will be done in our presented work. Neglection of pioneers equals complete ignorance. If there is no past, there is no future. What about methodology? Methodology means materials, methods, ethics. It's very important. Ethics, efforts, estimation, establishment of our future. Thinking how to modify, critical thinking, not to repeat others. I'm not copy of anyone. I'm not a copy of myself in the past. So we need to modify. We need to improve. We need to trust ourselves during the work, try and error to learn, tolerate all hard conditions and low facilities by good handling. How to use simple things to achieve great targets. Online mind is better than offline minded thinking. Action of the work will lead us to think more and more, and also to prepare more papers in in the topic or in the point. Official thinking is very bad compared to creative thinking and also critical thinking. And also let's move to be have international thinking instead of local thinking, because already international thinking will include local thinking. Again, we need to be online minded, and also we need to have great contribution to science instead of having a weak traditional work. And also our work is falls our sorry under our responsibility. So we need to be ourselves during the work. Regarding thesis, regarding work, regarding paper, don't be your supervisor, don't be a copy of anyone, but you can take advice, you can take guidance and some important rules and some important tips and highlights, and but you need to be yourself. And years of our life bended for learning, so don't waste your time. Try to do great uh, additions to others, to be a good person for you followers. Results reaction between all other parts of the work, respect the negative results, not only positive results. We need to respect our own results. Don't try to copy and paste from results of others, and don't try to stick to other results. We need to establish new successive work. This new successive works will be led by the running work. Don't be similar to others, but try to find new results. Results will be very useful to your followers. Sorry, it must be valuable, not too short, not too long, but it must be valuable. Try to avoid performing it as a weak. Uh, Sorry, I'm trying to adjust the volume. Avoid doing it as a weak results. Tables and figures. Figures are better than tables, but we need also sometimes for short tables. Don't prepare it as crowded tables to something like disappearing some results, and we are trying to support our primary hypothesis, or maybe we need to correct it. Also regarding discussion, it's the death or life of data, must be done as informative discussion, and also it must be informative and simple and comparative analysis of our results with others. It must be of great impact to our work, a new way of comparing. New way of comparing my results with others, maybe in my previously published results. So it's something like swimming. I'm feeling like my screen is not visible. Is it visible or not? Hello?
मैडम विजिबल है स्क्रीन विजिबल है.
Okay, thank you. So it's something like swimming with our data and the data of others, and it must be done as an informative and of great impact to the work. We are pairing our results with others in a very strong way. What about conclusion, takeaway message? So I'm concluding something, I am giving some hints or tips. References, in references, we are repeating all references inside all chapters of the paper. It means that efforts of others, so we need to refer to them in a very honest way. We need to to be characterized by honesty. We are using mixture of recent and old references, but recent references are very important to be included. We are sometimes we are referring to something like papers of pioneers. It's okay, but we need to use also recent papers. Papers are efforts of others, so we must appreciate. We are not allowed to neglect anyone inside the references because S of references means scientists. So we must appreciate our scientists to be appreciated from our followers. We must we must write complete and corrected data. Now, are you ready for application? So if you are ready, please let's talk about journals now. So I started with how to prepare good paper. So I'm considering the journal as a container. Okay. Journal is not the water. Journal is not the juice. It's only a container. So we need to use good container to avoid polluting our juice or our water. Is it okay? So we need to put our paper in a good journal. But before we need to prepare good paper. What about journals? We have many types of journals. We have indexed journals and non-indexed journals. We have specialized and non-specialized journals. We have multidisciplinary or unidisciplinary journals. And we need to avoid predatory journals. It's very important. Before anything, we need to avoid publishing with predatory journals. So, what is the journal index? And why this indexation is very important? From the Springer website, a journal index or a list of journals organized by disciplines, subject, region, and other factors can be used by other researchers to search for studies or data related to certain or specific topic. As an author, publishing my research work in an indexed journal will increase the credibility and also visibility of my work. It will give me a value. It will give me high citation and so on. So in the Springer and Elsevier websites and other websites, they are helping us to understand the issue of journal indexing and what is the benefit of publishing in indexed journals. So the journal index also can be called as bibliographic index or bibliographic database, which means that we have a list of journals organized by discipline, subject, region, or other factors. Journal indexes can be used to search for some studies and also data and specific topics. Both scholars and general public can search in journal indexes. It is not closed only for scholars, but it can be used also by public people. Journals in indexes have been reviewed and ensure that they may meet certain or important criteria. This criteria may include ethics and peer review policies and also assessment criteria for submitting the article and transparent editorial board, and many things related to ethical issues. As I showed before, something like a report related to a reviewer. So in good journals, all fine details are discussed. Indexed journals are very important because they are often considered to be of high scientific quality, and non-indexed journals are with less scientific quality. So we need to aim for publication in highly impacted journals. I'll talk about impact factor later on, but we need to talk now about indexed journals for some important reasons, including improving the value of our work, and also raising our H index, and having good citation, and so on. So, journal indexes are created by different organizations, including some public bodies, including PubMed, and analytical companies, including Web of Science, and also Scopus. If we have, or if we are talking about publishers, and also Scopus and Elsevier, and so on. Key types of journals index. So we have different indexes. We have public bodies, we have analytical companies, and also we have publishers. We can choose from a range of journals. We can consider some indexes as general indexes, others are specialized indexes. For example, we have Science Citation Index. Expanded includes mostly science and technology. In another fields or specializations, we have another for arts and humanity citation, and also we have emerging source citation index, includes all disciplines, something like multidisciplinary journals. Also, we need to detect specific journal using index according to data given by some indexes, including Web of Science, Chinese Academy of Science Indexing System, and so on. Some indexes are open to public, like Google Scholar, Web of Science Master, Journal List, and so on. However, you can confuse between open access related to indexed journals and others related to predatory journals. Some predatory journals are writing fake impact factors and fake indexing issue system related to them. They are cheating authors. So now let's discuss how does journal indexing work. All journals are checked for certain criteria before being indexed. First of all, journals will have International Standard Serial Number ISSN. They have digital object identifier, which is DOI, and also they have some copyright requirements to have Creative Commons licensing, and also some other requirements, including conflict of interest statements, ethical approval statements. Editorial board must be choose from highly qualified people, highly qualified scientists, and also peer reviewing policies must be strict, and must be done in very, very efficient and high performance. To be included in in an index, the journal must submit an application or undergo something like evaluation by editors related to publishers or websites and so on to give them the approval to be indexed. Again, why is journal indexing is very important for authors to be respected, to publish in a good place. We are reducing the value of our work, sorry, by publishing in non-indexed journals. With the growth and fully open access journals and online, we have some predatory journals, as I referred before. Some of them are introducing themselves as indexed journals, but we need to check. As an author, it's very important to ensure that your research is seen by many eyes as possible. It means that your work will be visible to high amount of authors or audiences. Indexes database are often the first places scholars and the public will search in it. So publishing a paper in non-indexed journal could be very harmful to our context. However, there are some exceptions. We can publish in non-indexed journals in some cases, including case reports. For this reason, I started my lecture by referring to types of scientific paper. In case of case study or reports, we can we can find some obstacles in finding indexed journals will publish our report or case study. So maybe we will return to publish with non-indexed journals, but it will be acceptable. What about open access and indexation? As I referred before, open access will cause high visibility and anyone can see and can read and can download the paper, and the publication speed is very high. So the frequency or the date from submission to publication will be very small. What about frequency? Frequency means that we have how many numbers of volume within the same year. If I am as a publisher, if I am publishing one volume or one issue per year, it means that it will take long time. But maybe because this journal is highly qualified, so author will wait for such journals. Identifying credible open access journal, we have many ways to spot on predatory journals and also indexed journals. If they are collecting fees without doing peer reviewing, it means that they are predatory. If they are not following ethical issues and copyright policies, and if they are publishing without checking plagiarism and so on, it means that we are in front of predatory journals. So we can identify it very easily. And also, what about impact factor? It is easy to assume that indexed journals will have higher impact factors, but it's not related to each other. Indexation and impact factor are unrelated. We are selecting an indexed journal, and as I said before, it's very important in our publication journey, and indexation can tell us a lot about the journal, and publishing in an indexed journal can increase the visibility and creditability of my research work. Maybe will be translated to money, to salary, to funds, and so on. And also it will give many tangible owner or something like it will give an owner to the work. And what about impact factor? Impact factor of a journal means that are in front of academic journal. It will be estimated by scientometric index called calculated by Clarivate. It means that impact factor is calculated by Clarivate. It means that number of citations per year and number of articles published in the last 2 years in a given journal by Clarivate Web of Science. The higher the impact factor, the better and the more qualified paper. But I'll show some limitation also. Impact factor data have a strong influence on the scientific community, affecting decision on where to publish, whom to promote or hire, the success of grant applications, and even salary, as I said before, and bonus. And impact factor data have a strong influence on the scientific community. It will make you an influencer, researcher, or scientist. So it will affect deciding on where can I publish, and also whom to promote or hire, and the success of grant applications, and also even the salary of bonus. Is it general rules without any discussion? No, anything can be done, but sometimes we have some limitations. So limitation is related to calculation of impact factor itself. How can we calculate impact factors if I am a publisher? Impact factors means publication, citations per year divided on publication per year minus 1 plus publication per year minus 2. For example, if I need to talk about impact factor of this year, it means that citation at this year divided on publication on the previous year plus publication on the last 2 years. The higher the impact factor, the better the journal, but limitation is related to maybe sometime it is we are doing misuse of evaluation. It's not good in evaluating individuals based on journal. Maybe my paper is not the best, but citation came from another author. So impact factor is not a fact or the only truth, but we can evaluate the paper itself again, and we need to detect and we need to measure the qualification of the work and the author, because we need to avoid misuse of evaluating individuals based on evaluating the journal, including papers of others. So we need to have also, beside impact factor, personal judgment. And I reached to the final minute of my lecture. And thank you very much for your listening. I'm very happy to be with you today. And if you wanted to contact me, I'll be very happy at this email. You can contact me. Thank you very much for your great invitation. I'm very happy to be with you today. And thanks to my dear respected previous speaker before me, because I listened to her lecture and I loved it too much, because it added a lot to her lecture, added a lot to my knowledge. Thank you very much. And if there is any question or discussion.
Okay, thank you very much, our esteemed speaker for this afternoon. Well, we are now open for question and answer. If you have any question, kindly Okay, Professor Dinesh, you are recognized.
Madam, please, very much disturbed.
But here, there is yes, it's okay now, sir. Please go ahead, Alami. I'm listening to you.
Professor Dinesh, if you have any question,
Professor Dinesh, do you want to ask any question? Meghna ma'am, please conclude the session. Maybe he don't want to ask any question.
No, no, madam, I have a question. Question, please, question.
Yes,
Then
please.
please ask, sir. Everyone is waiting for your question.
Yes.
What is impact factor? Please clarify in detail.
Okay. Okay. Can I open my share screen again, please?
Yes, dear sis, you can.
Yes,
Sir, do
madam, you
you?
are audible.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm sharing my screen. Do you want me to add the issue of calculations?
No, 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 madam, please, in words.
Okay. In words, it means that something like evaluations of journals by editors, okay, based on citation compared to number of publications. I can show my screen now.
Yes, madam, please.
Yes, I'm going to it. Yes, here. We are calculating it. It's uploading. We are calculating it, as you can see, sir, inside the slide, by dividing quotations per year. For example, I need to calculate impact factor of this year. So I need to divide citations of this year on publications minus one that year plus publication minus one. It means that number of citations related to this year divided on publication in the previous year plus publication in the last 2 years before.
Okay, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Most welcome.
okay, thank you, madam. Thank you, thank you.
Most welcome, sir.
okay, thank you very much. Any question?
Meghna ma'am, unmute yourself.
I think there's no question from the viewers. If there is no questions, then may we proceed with the synthesis of the presentation this afternoon.
Sister, if there is no question, can I deliver my takeaway message related to the lecture in one sentence?
Okay, yes, Doc Eman, kindly proceed.
Thank you very much. We need to improve our work. Not only we need to search for the best journal, we need to prepare the best paper before asking about the best journal. However, as I said before, the journal is a container. So we don't like to pollute our juice or our water. So it means that in the case of journal, we don't like to pollute our name. Maybe many respected authors are doing good papers, but they are publishing in predatory because they are giving us very fast publication without any revision, without any peer reviewing, but they are collecting only money. So for this reason, we need to prepare our best paper instead of looking for the best journal. And also, it's very important to search for the best journal, but before and beside it, side by side, we need to improve our work before anything. So let's start from improving our work, from working on different parts of the paper, all parts of the paper. We need to improve our title, our abstract, our introduction, and so on before seeking for publishing in indexed and impacted journals. We need to improve our performance. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you today, and thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Eman Alam. Is there anyone who would like to share their ideas or insights about the topic? Is there anyone who would like to share their ideas or insights about the topic? Is there anyone who would like to share their ideas or insights about the topic? Is there anyone who would like to share? Okay, thank you very much for your enlightening presentation, Dr. Elam. Your extensive experience and expertise in this field of research soar through, and your insights were invaluable. I'm sure our listeners found your presentation insightful and engaging. Okay, so for the synthesis of our afternoon presentation, from our first speaker, Dr. Ivy Sara, which she speaks about the good governance, in which public policy, the implementation of public policy is known as the public administration, thus institutionalized proposal as a decided set of elements like laws, regulations, guidelines, and actions to solve or address relevant and real-world problems guided by a conception and often implemented by programs. Public policy generally consists of a set of actions like plans, laws, and behaviors adopted by a government. Governance draws attention to the extent to which these actions are often performed or by agents of the state rather than directly by the state. In other words, good governance is the process of measuring how public institutions conduct public affairs and manage public resources, and guarantee the realization of human rights in a manner essentially free of abuse and corruption with due regard for the rule of law. And with our second speaker, in which we discuss about the research and publishing, finally it is Soput House for his reputation. We are very fortunate to have this expert speakers with us today, and I'm sure their presentations are informative, insightful, and engaging. With that, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to our speakers today for sharing their knowledge, expertise, and insights with us. Each one of them has provided with the unique perspective in the topic of discussion that I'm sure we all half of the Mindanao State University Sulu, the office of the attendance.
Okay, that concludes our fourth day International Virtual Short-Term Forum. Dr. Eman Abdel Samia Ali Hussein Alam and Dr. Ivy Sarah May B. Arimao, you have presented a very informative and very useful and timely information about public policy and governance, and at the same time how to publish in the Scopus Journal. So with that, thank you very much once again to our partners, to our partner, in most especially the Cape Comorin Trust of India, headed by Dr. Regine Selvest, and our international partner, Dr. Shalja Vesudeva, and of course, in the name of our Chancellor, Dr. Nagdar J. Abdurrahman, for the success of this fourth day presentation conducted internationally. With that, God bless to everyone. Thank you and wassalam.